Hello and welcome to the podcast for Math 25 Precalculus. My name is Greg Perkins. I will be your host. So we are going to be using the graphing calculator to see where these two functions intersect. But first I'm going to do the actual algebra and find out where they intersect and then use the graphing calculator to make sure that I'm right. So the first thing to do is set them equal to each other to find out where they intersect. And then I'm going to move everything to one side so that it's set equal to 0. So I can add 1 to both sides, and I can subtract x. So I'm essentially moving everything to the left-hand side. And on the right-hand side, we will just have 0. On the left-hand side, there's negative x squared plus a 4x, and then plus a 2. And this is a great time to use the quadratic formula. So in case you don't remember, the quadratic formula goes like this. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. And what is this a, b, and c you're talking about? Well, in front of the x squared, there's a negative 1, so that's a. In front of the x, there's a 4, so that's b. And then the constant is c, so c equals 2. So let's go ahead and use the quadratic formula on this and find out what x equals. One quick note, because it has x squared, that means you have two solutions. If it said x cubed, there would be 3 solutions. If it said x to the 4th, there would be 4 solutions. So this is going to have 2 solutions for x. Okay, so the quadratic formula is going to look like x equals, and then use negative b, so that's negative 4, plus or minus the square root, b gets squared, minus 4 times a, which is negative 1, and then times c, which is a 2. And the whole thing is divided by 2a, or 2 times negative 1. So it's important that you make this fraction bar. That fraction bar right there should not look like this, but it needs to go all the way across because it's one big fraction. And at this point, I'm going to use the calculator. So let me move over to the TI-84, and first of all, I need to put parentheses so the calculator knows this is what's on top of the fraction or the numerator. So I need the square root, and then I can just type in exactly what I had written. So b squared minus 4 times a, which was a negative 1, and then use parentheses so it understands this is multiplication, and then times the 2. And right now the little arrow is inside the square root, so I just need to use the right arrow key to get out of the square root, and then put parentheses to say this is the numerator. And then the whole thing is divided by 2 times the negative 1, so that would be negative 2 on the bottom. And when you use negative, make sure you use this button down here on the bottom. That's the negative. Now I need to delete all of those extra negatives. Okay, so it turns out that negative 0.449 is one answer. And then the good thing is you can just use the up arrow to capture that. It'll give it back to us so we don't have to retype the whole thing. And then just change the plus to a minus. And the other answer, 4.449. And now I want to see if this is correct. So go to y equals, and one function was negative x squared plus 5x plus 1, and that is a parabola. And the other function is an x minus 1, which is a line. And then we're trying to see where they intersect. Well, because I'm using an iPad, I can just touch it, and it shows me they intersect when x equals a 4.49 and y equals 3.449. If you don't have a touch screen, you can go to calculate and then type in the answer that we got, like for example, negative 0.4 0.49, and then hit enter, and then it shows me that is one of the intersection points. And then I'm going to just write down the y value and go back to the other screen, and we'll be done. So in the upper left-hand corner, I'm just writing down the x and y values. So then I can go back to my work and finish it up. So one point of intersection was, well, I guess I could write that x equals negative 0.449 was one answer, x equals 4.449 was another answer. And then I could put the associated y values. So this one was a 3.449, and this one was a negative 1.449. And then finally, you could also write the answers as an ordered pair. So the first one is the negative 0.449, comma, 3.449. And the other intersection point, 4.449, and then the y value, negative 1.449. And there it is.